Okay, bye-bye. Okay, bye. Bye. Hi, good evening to all of you. Please be seated. Please be seated. So, welcome all of you. Clear. So, we'll start the journey today. And this journey that goes almost for a year, I suppose. Clear? At least directly with us. And I hope so that it gets end within a year only. Clear? So that you get into the service, the elite service as soon as possible. If not also, clear, then even after 1 year, we are there with you. Clear? So, very important one, very prestigious. All of you are here. One thing is very clear, half of the work is already done. Clear? So sitting here itself makes it clear. Intention is very clear. And we are determined, committed to move with this mission and target to crack the most prestigious examination in our country. So let us start this one. So briefly, I'm Rashid and I'll be taking your entire section on history, art and culture. And today we'll be starting with an important module, that is the world history. And before we start, as I start with every module and as other faculty members will also be doing, the first thing to be understood is understand and decode the syllabus prescribed by Union Public Service Commission, because everything under the sun is not to be covered. Clear? The best part, the best important thing about institute is to learn what not to study. Clear? Because if you know what to study, obviously you will be more focused and committed. And what not to study, what are to be relevant things to be focused upon, is only known through the syllabus given by UPSC. Well prescribed syllabus is given. So first of all, we'll understand the pattern. Clear? As far as UPSC examinations concerned, clear, there are sections which are clearly mentioned for your prelims, for your mains, and even guidelines provided for interview guidance or interview test as well. As far as mains examinations concerned, which is the real battle, clear, because 1750 marks is in your own hand. Clear? So no unpredictability in this examination. These are all myth. Clear? If you have the required tools and skills, 1750 marks directly in your own hand. Clear? Remaining 275 marks allotted for personality test, and obviously it can vary, but personality test and the result does not decide your rank. It decides your only selection. Clear? The real thing is 1750 marks, in which 1000 marks is devoted only for general studies, 250 for essay, and 500 for one selected optional. Clear? And in 1000 marks, that is the GS paper, we have 4 papers prescribed by UPSC: paper 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if we take paper 1, in paper 1 only we have several sections and components related to history which are to be covered, along with Indian society and geography. These are the major sections to be covered in paper 1. And out of 250 marks, almost 100 to 150 marks will be there related directly to history section in your mains examination. In fact, the very first answer that you will be writing in mains examination, that will be of history section only, GS paper 1. Clear? So coming to this section, ancient, medieval, modern in history are to be covered for both prelims and mains examination, but world history is related largely to our mains examination, and this topic is explicitly mentioned in GS paper 1. You get almost 2 questions on an average every year. It can be 1 also, it can be 3 also. Clear? But on average 2 questions every year in GS paper 1 from world history. Very straightforward, very scoring in nature. We'll try to understand first of all the syllabus prescribed by UPSC related to world history, and then we'll start the journey. Clear? Now first of all, the syllabus related to world history says, clear? And before you start any module, make it a habit. Clear? On the front of the register, you need to have the syllabus written. Clear? Because syllabus will prescribe you the basic areas under which you have to operate. Now coming to syllabus, first of all, it says in GS paper 1, I'll dictate, don't worry about it, just understand fast. Clear? In GS paper 1, it is explicitly mentioned about world history that history of the world, including major events from 18th century like industrial revolution. It starts with this topic. Then we have topics like the two world wars. Then we have topics like causes and consequences of world wars. Then redrawal of national boundaries. At the same time, colonization and decolonization. And finally, the political philosophy like capitalism, socialism, communism, their forms and effect on society. Clear? So these are the topics explicitly mentioned in our syllabus. I'll repeat once again. The topic says major events of the world history like industrial revolution from 18th century, the two world wars, causes and consequences. Then we have the topic redrawal of national boundaries. Then political philosophies like capitalism, socialism, communism, their forms and effect. And lastly, we have colonization and decolonization. Explicitly, these are to be done mandatorily. There's no excuse. Clear? But apart from these topics, there are some intrinsic topics not mentioned, but without which we cannot cover world history. Clear? Those topics include like topics like Italian unification, German unification, the era of Napoleon, Bismarck. Clear? We have to cover these topics as well, like Russian Revolution, Chinese Revolution. So these are the topics also to be covered to make the world history section complete, because anyway, these topics can also be asked because the term is major events of 18th century like. Like means any other thing apart from industrial revolution also. Clear? So decode the syllabus properly. It's like means not only industrial revolution, other four revolutions also, like the Russian Revolution, the French Revolution, American Revolution and Chinese Revolution. Clear? So we'll be covering those areas as well to have a complete coverage of world history section. This syllabus first of all is clear. First of all, topics and subtopics should be very clear, and then we'll start with industrial revolution from 18th century, which was first started in England, also known as Britain, also known as presently as United Kingdom. Clear? We'll understand about this industrialization process. Is this clear up to this? First of all, we'll write the syllabus. Clear? Write the syllabus for world history. It's for mains examination, GS paper 1. The syllabus for world history. The syllabus for world history. Clear? Right? First of all, right? Right. The major events of world history. The major events of world history from 18th century. The major events of world history from 18th century like industrial revolution, comma, the two world wars, causes and consequences, both. The two world wars, causes and consequences. Next, comma, the redrawal of national boundaries. If any word is not clear, just let me know, I'll write. The redrawal of national boundaries. Redrawal, R-E-D-R-A-W-L. Redrawal of national boundaries. Clear? Colonization and decolonization. Comma, political philosophy like capitalism, socialism, communism, dash, their forms and effect on society. Their forms and effect on society. We'll discuss the variants also. Clear? So these are the topics explicitly mentioned in UPSC website, UPSC syllabus, clear. Well, we'll be covering other topics as well. We'll go in a sequential order, clear. So it start with Industrial Revolution. We'll start with Industrial Revolution only because this event acted as template for other developments of world history as well, clear. So why this start with the Industrial Revolution? Logic also needs to be understood, clear. Now, first of all, just understand. Do understand first. I'll dictate. Don't worry about it. I'll make you right. Clear? But try to understand. And one more thing. Clear? If anything is not clear, or if you want to ask any question, just feel free to ask question. Clear? Don't hesitate. Clear? At this stage of your life, no question is illogical. Clear? Every question has a logic. Clear? So obviously, just don't hesitate. If you want to ask anything in the mid also, I'm here to answer all your queries. Purpose of class should be interactive in nature rather than unilaterally from my side only. Clear? So if you want to ask anything, feel free. Don't hesitate. Ask anything that you want to. And until you get all the concepts clear, will not proceed further. Clear? So purpose is to have collective understanding, the whole class. Clear? So to understand, first of all, clear? The term revolution, first of all, we need to understand. Clear? Why do historians attach the suffix to any development in the past like revolution? American, French Revolution. In India also we have Green Revolution. Clear? First of all, we need to understand what is the importance of the term revolution attached to any historical event of the past. Clear? The term revolution is attached by historians only to those events that led to radical and structural changes, and these changes could not be reversed by future generation that continues till contemporary times. Clear? So those irreversible changes which were introduced in historical times because of some major events, clear, these developments of past are known as revolutions. Clear? So all historical developments may not be revolution. Clear? Those radical and structural changes which took place in the past, the effects of which are felt till contemporary times and which could not be reversed. Clear? Even by future generation, these events of the past are known as revolutions. Clear? What was that irreversible change in this revolution? It replaced the manual or human power with mechanical power of machines. Clear? Until now, we are progressing day by day to have more and more machines in our life. Clear? Obviously, irreversible changes took place. Clear? Green revolution took place in India, whereby abundant production of wheat began to take place under the regime of Indira Gandhi. Still we go for such packaged agrarian program to have food security and buffer stock in India, and since this seems to be irreversible to feed the millions of people in our country. Clear? So obviously only those historical phenomena which led to radical changes of structural character which could not be reversed even by future generation, we call those events as revolutions. Clear? First of all, understand the basic, the fundamental thing. Revolution, what exactly it implied. Clear? Now coming to this revolution known as Industrial Revolution, that first of all took place in England in 18th century. Clear? First of all, we'll go with the background. Clear? One question that is asked, we'll discuss the question also. Clear? One question that is asked from this topic is why this revolution took place in England only. Clear? Why not other countries like France, Russia, or other countries like United States? Clear? First of all, we'll understand why this revolution only in England, what was the scenario. Clear? If we look into world history, clear? In fact, clear? We use the term world history. In real sense, it is not world history. Clear? It is primarily European history. Clear? Because all the major decisive players were in Europe only, and they rather flexed their arms all across the world, and they began to apply the norms and conventions in other parts and leading to impact at global level. So in reality, it is not a world history. It is basically European history. And European history also, some countries played very important role like Britain, Germany, France, and to some extent even Austria in historical times. Clear? Now in this context, let's understand. Clear? The first modern nation state to be established all across the world was the nation state of Britain, England. Clear? How England became the first modern nation state? What are the criteria of modern nation state? We'll understand this. Clear? Throughout European history also, there was ancient, medieval and modern phase like in Indian history. Clear? And in medieval phase, all European countries was marked by three major institutions. Clear? Politically, all these countries were dominated by autocratic monarchy. That is, person ruled over these countries by virtue of belonging to the royal family. Clear? Second major thing was economically the dominant feudal system, whereby agricultural lands were owned by intermediaries known as feudal lords, and peasants remained at the mercy of feudal lords. And socially and religiously, all these countries were marked by dominance of church and the clergy class. Clear? So three distinctive features of medieval Europe all across European continent was politically marked by autocratic monarchy, economically marked by prevalence of feudal law system, and socially and religiously marked by dominance of church and the clergy class. Clear? And the first country to challenge these medieval institutions was the country of Britain. The reason was autocratic monarchy in Britain was challenged way back in 13th century when large number of people came together. They drafted a document to demand civil rights for them from autocratic monarch. This document is known as Magna Carta, drafted in the year 1295. Clear? With this draft or document known as Magna Carta, they demanded civil and political rights from autocratic monarch, and all these rights were granted to them. This was a big support development taking place. Clear? From here, political awareness and consciousness began to take place among the British people, and ultimately, after a few centuries, a peaceful, a bloodless revolution took place in Britain, which is known as Glorious Revolution. And as a result of Glorious Revolution 1688, autocratic monarchy was replaced by constitutional monarchy. Now the powers of monarch were defined by written rules and regulations, which is known as autocratic monarchy, known as constitutional monarchy in place of autocratic monarchy. Clear? These developments began to take place in Britain from 17th century. Britain started to emerge as independent country, a major country. Clear? And Britain, dominated by traders and merchants thereafter, decided to attack the privileges of feudal lords and began to promote optimum utilization of wealth, and this resulted into two major philosophies in Britain. First is known as the philosophy of mercantilism, followed by the philosophy of capitalism. Clear? These were the basis on which industrialization began to take place. First is the philosophy of mercantilism, followed by the philosophy of capitalism. Clear? Mercantilism largely promoted by Queen Elizabeth in Britain, followed by capitalist philosophy largely promoted by a thinker known as Adam Smith. Clear? With his work known as The Wealth of Nations. Clear? We'll understand first of all this. Then we'll understand how Britain started replacing the muscle power of human beings with mechanical power of machines. Is this clear till this point? How Britain started to emerge as the first modern nation state. Clear? Background needs to be understood. Then we'll discuss industrialization. Clear? Because it started first of all in Britain. Clear? Right, first background. Clear? Write the subheading as the background for modern world history. Ha, please. The back. Ha, please. Ha. Ha. No, that was not the major factor. That started political reforms in Britain. Clear? Why did this not happen in other countries? Huh. At that point of time, in which country? You mean to say that these developments were taking place in other countries also at the same time? Which country? Why didn't that happen? Clear? That's a valid thing. Clear? Why didn't these developments took place in other countries of Europe only, leave aside Asia, Africa and America? Clear? Why not? Why only in Britain only? First of all, this question is there, very fundamental one. See, first of all, I'll let you know, clear, why this happened in, not in other countries, but first of all in Britain, clear? First of all, other countries, if we look, have a brief survey about the European world at that time, clear? First major country was Britain, that is located far away from European mainland, separated by a water body known as English Channel. If you come to mainland Europe, we have countries like France, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, some parts of Russia, Austria. These were the countries. Clear? In all these countries, the most important thing was autocratic monarchy was very strong. Clear? In France, the ruling family was known as the Bourbon family. Clear? They ruled with a very strict hand over French people. Clear? And the Bourbon family was largely supported by the clergy class and the feudal lords. Clear? We'll come to Britain, how it was different. Clear? Same thing was with Germany. In fact, Germany was not a nation in any sense. It was divided into more than 300 smaller states dominated by Austria. Clear? Same was the case with Russia also. Autocratic monarchs were known as czars in Russia. And czars were largely supported by feudal lords and the clergy class. Clear? So strongly they established a nexus in these countries and they never allowed the common people to question their domination. Clear? So it was a collective domination by the monarch, the clergy, the nobility over the common masses. So until some radical developments could have taken place, common masses could not question, could not dare to question the domination of these institutions. Clear? But what happened in Britain? Clear? In Britain, monarchy was not well entrenched. Clear? Liberal monarchs were there, Tudors. Clear? They were very liberal persons in Britain. Clear? And at the same time, these monarchs did not have complete support of feudal lords and clergy class. Now, here only we'll understand why not. If they had few complete support in other countries, why not in Britain? Just have a geographical location of Britain. Clear? England or Britain is surrounded by large water bodies. Clear? And at the same time, clear, there were large number of people who wanted to go for maritime trade or global trade. Clear? Britain from the very beginning emphasized on large naval power. Britain dominated the entire world with its naval superiority. Clear? And therefore, Queen Elizabeth way back in 15th century only, clear, gave firman or order to private players to trade with other countries of the world. And from there, they developed the philosophy known as mercantilism. Mercantilism means to promote export as much as possible and to restrict import as much as possible so that accumulation of wealth can take place. Clear? So wealth began to be accumulated with mercantilist class. So since mercantilist class became important, they never gave importance to feudal lords, they never gave importance to the clergy class, and they had support of monarch. So situation in Britain was quite distinct from the situation in other countries of European continent. It's clear. Be very clear. Please. Uh, Not autocratic monarchy. Other countries. Uh, not colonialism is not a corollary of autocratic monarchy. Clear? But at the same time, colonialism is basically corollary of mercantilism and capitalism. Clear? Because when mercantilism, capitalism began to grow, all these traders began to talk about their own interest. Clear? And to maximize their profit, their interest, they began to subjugate the unexplored continent of the world like America, Asia and Africa. So colonialism is an offshoot of mercantilism and capitalism, not of monarchy. Clear? Monarchy was not in a capacity only. Clear? Monarch gave formal permission, that's all. Queen Elizabeth gave permission to merchant adventurers. They came to India. In course of time, they got converted to British India Company. They dominated over India. Clear? This was one major thing. In fact, for your state, for this place you should know. Clear? British conquest over Bengal. Clear? was marking or rather took the peak of mercantilism in Britain. Clear? Because from here, resources began to be gathered from Bengal, accumulated to Britain, and mercantilism reached its peak. And with mercantilism, thereafter, they began to promote capitalism, more organized form of domination. Its corollary is basically from mercantilism and capitalism, not directly from monarchy. It's fine. Questions are valid, no doubt. Clear? And you should know because it widens the horizons of others also. Clear? Coming to this, background is clear. Right, first introduction. Background to world history. Clear? Right, the modern period in the world history, the modern period in the world history, in the world history can be traced back, can be traced back from 13th century, can be traced back from 13th century when medieval system and institutions, when medieval system and institutions began to be questioned, when medieval system and institutions began to be questioned. Clear? Right, the first country to witness, the first country to witness such skepticism, the first country to witness such skepticism, SCEPTICISM. If any word is not clear, let me know, I'll explain. Clear? Skepticism. Shall I write on the board? Such led to skepticism, led to skepticism, clear, whereby political and civil rights, political and civil rights began to be demanded, began to be demanded. Civil rights, clear, right. The medieval Europe was characterized by, the medieval Europe was characterized by autocratic monarchy, characterized by autocratic monarchy in political domain, autocratic monarchy in political domain. Monarch not accountable to masses. Clear? Monarchy in political domain. Right. Economically, the countries were dominated by, the countries were dominated by feudal lords, dominated by feudal lords who appropriated the resources of, who appropriated the resources of, appropriated, appropriated, appropriated the resources of the peasants, resources of the peasants, the farmers, farming communities, peasants, right? Socially and religiously, socially and religiously, clear? Religiously, the countries were dominated by, the countries were dominated by, dominated by the church and the clergy class. Islam, that is religious experts, church and the clergy class. Do remember these three things, very important. We'll come on and off and on. Clear? Church and the clergy class. It's clear? Chain paragraph. Right? These medieval institutions, these medieval institutions were questioned. First of all, in Britain, first of all, in Britain, when common people drafted the document, when common people drafted a document, Magna Carta, in 1295. In 1295. Okay? Right. The monarch provided civil and political rights. The monarch provided civil and political rights to the people, and reforms began to take place. And reforms began to take place. Okay. Right. By the end of the 17th century, Britain witnessed, by the end of 17th century, Britain witnessed the glorious revolution. Britain witnessed the glorious revolution. It's a peaceful one, revolution, in which autocratic monarchy, was replaced by constitutional monarchy. Replaced by constitutional monarchy. Clear? So political reforms began to take place in Britain, the first country to do so. Clear? Meanwhile, clear? Mercantilism and capitalism. Clear? Right. Meanwhile, clear? A new philosophy of mercantilism, emerged in Britain. New philosophy of mercantilism emerged in Britain, which was supported by British monarch, Queen Elizabeth. Trading companies began to come to different parts, including India also. Clear? Queen Elizabeth. Now understand from here. Clear? What exactly do you mean by mercantilism and how mercantilism developed? Surrounded by large water bodies. Obviously, they wanted to promote maritime trade. So merchants and traders emerged. Even now, for your information, Britain is known as country of merchants. Clear? So this country has always been known for country as dominated by merchants. Clear? Now, when merchants decided to trade with other parts of the world, clear? By this time, continents like Asia, Africa, and America had been explored by Europeans. Clear? They knew about the routes to come toward this region, and therefore, large number of traders and merchants of Britain, they began to promote maritime trade with continents of Asia, Africa, and even North America. Clear? And when they began to trade with these continents, their whole objective was, clear, to promote export initially as much as possible and to restrict import. Clear? Because they wanted to earn foreign exchange. Clear? And that is why mercantilism in crude form is also known as Bullionism. Clear? That is collecting and hoarding the wealth altogether. Clear? So they began to export their articles to major countries and at the same time began to restrict the import. Foreign exchange began to come to Britain and hoarding of bullions began to take place in Britain and mercantilist class started to emerge as a very prominent class with huge amount of wealth. With huge amount of wealth under command, these persons also came to be known as capitalist class because with this wealth, the capital, now they began to regulate economic activities in Britain. Clear? And when capitalist class began to dominate over Britain, they first of all challenged the feudal lords. Clear? Why they challenged the feudal lords? They realized feudal lords had been wasting the resources of Britain in extravagant expenditure. Clear? In fact, feudal lords, just to show their royalty, the most important activity in Europe was to construct large castles or forts. Clear? In fact, even now, major countries of Europe has large and magnificent castles known as forts. Clear? Why they constructed forts? To show their royalty. But that was not the productive use of the capital. So capitalist class, they wanted to take away the resources of agriculture also, and they wanted to accumulate wealth from trade also, and with this wealth, they wanted to promote some major economic adventure in Britain because they knew Britain had substantial reserve of coal and iron as well. Clear? So mercantilism, when it became successful, huge amount of wealth got accumulated in the hands of the productive classes. These classes thereafter began to show their wealth to promote optimum growth, and these classes came to be known as the capitalist class, and this marked the beginning of an ideology known as capitalism in Britain. Clear? It started with mercantilism, that is bullionism, which started in England for the first time. Clear? Right. The emerging trading communities. The emerging trading communities began to promote export, began to promote export, and at the same time, restricted import, restricted import. Clear? Right. This led to favorable balance of trade. This led to favorable balance of trade. Favorable balance of trade and huge wealth. Balance of trade. Huge favorable balance of trade that led to huge accumulation of wealth with the mercantilist class. With the mercantilist class. Clear? Right. This class, shall I be slow? If you want me to be further slow, it's fine. Speed is fine. Are you able to synchronize? Clear. Right. This class began to promote optimum utilization of wealth, to accelerate utilization of wealth, to accelerate the rate of economic growth. Accelerate the rate of economic growth. Clear? Right. Such philosophy led to the beginning of capitalism in Britain, marked by private ownership of wealth. Marked by private ownership of the wealth. It's clear of the wealth. Now coming to capitalism, just understand this philosophy. Clear here it's clear. According to philosophy of capitalism, resources of a nation or a country must not be distributed among all the sections of society. Clear? Because this ideology strongly believes that all the sections may not have the knowledge or wisdom to have proper utilization of wealth. Like the feudal lords did not have that wisdom for optimum utilization. So capitalism believes that resources are not to be distributed equitably among all the sections. Rather, resources should remain confined to those sections having the right knowledge and wisdom for proper utilization and to accelerate the rate of economic growth. It is also believed once the rate of economic growth gets accelerated, the benefit of this growth will percolate to all the sections of society and ultimately it will lead to an egalitarian society. Clear? So it's not that capitalism is against equality. Clear? But capitalism believes that equality will get automatically established if the rate of economic growth is sustained for longer period of time. This is the primary difference between capitalism and socialism. In socialism, there has to be mandatory distribution of wealth equitably among all the sections to establish equality. But in capitalism, resources are not to be distributed. Rather, rate of economic growth needs to be accelerated and that benefit of growth will percolate to all the sections and therefore it will lead to filtration of profit and equality at every level of the society. Clear? This philosophy is known as philosophy of capitalism, which envisaged private ownership of wealth. Clear? Such ideology, which began to develop in Britain, was largely supported by a great intellectual. This intellectual was Adam Smith when he wrote a monumental work, The Wealth of Nations, in 1776. And in this Wealth of Nation, he advocated a new doctrine to support capitalism. This doctrine advocated by Adam Smith, this doctrine is known as laissez-faire, which literally means let us alone. Clear? According to this doctrine, capitalist class was supposed to organize the entire economic system on market principles like demand and supply with least intervention by the government. Clear? So laissez-faire means leave the capitalist class alone to organize the economic system without intervention of state or government. Clear? And therefore this doctrine is known as laissez-faire doctrine. Clear? Since capitalist class was given a free hand even by the British monarch in Britain, clear, they began to organize economic system according to their own agenda, according to their own philosophy. And just because the entire economy was operated by them, they took all measures to accelerate the rate of economic growth. And in the process of accelerating the rate of economic growth, they began to utilize coal and iron reserves, and they even sponsored series of scientific inventions and discoveries. And ultimately, as a result of these inventions and discoveries, the muscle power of human beings got replaced by mechanical power of machines. Clear? So we need to understand with this background how capitalist class played instrumental role. Philosophy is clear. Capitalism, right? Yeah. According to, please. Hmm. You mean to say at that point of time? See, again, her question is very valid that capitalism that started to take place in Britain, clear, did similar development took place in other contemporary countries of Europe? That you mean to? Is that come from mercantilism to capitalism or directly capitalism in many countries? Fine. Clear? Question here is that as in Britain, there was a gradual development that from mercantilism, we developed the ideology of capitalism. Did the same phenomena was replicated in other countries of Europe at that point of time? Again, clear? This phenomena could not be replicated immediately in any country at that point of time, because as we had discussed to his question, there was a strong nexus between the monarch, the feudal lords, and the clergy. Clear? So like Britain is surrounded by water body. So obviously Britain traders began to promote maritime trade. But in inland countries of mainland Europe, there was no outlet to sea to offer every country. So obviously the urge for maritime trade was not as intense as it was with British. Clear? So obviously mercantilism did not develop in these countries, but capitalism came. But how that capitalism came? Clear? After radical change in those countries when totally abandoned the medieval system. Clear? And that was in form of, first of all, it took place in America as a result of American War of Independence when America became independent in 1783, and then by in France as a result of French Revolution that started in 1789. After this, since the entire medieval system got eroded, then the concept of capitalism began to be replicated from Britain. Clear? But not immediately, but later on. And just because of this only, England became the first country to start industrialization. It's clear. Clear? I hope you understand difference England, Britain, and United Kingdom. England, along with Scotland and Wales, is known as Great Britain or Britain simply. Clear? And if we add Northern Ireland also, it is known as United Kingdom. Clear? Is this clear? United Kingdom, Great Britain, simply known as England. Clear? So England is just an island. If we add Scotland and Wales, it is known as Great Britain. If we add Northern Ireland also, it becomes United Kingdom. It's clear, first of all. Clear? So coming to this development. Clear? Right. What was the line with? According to the philosophy of capitalism, according to the philosophy of capitalism, resources of a nation, resources of a nation are to be owned and controlled, are to be owned and controlled by few people, not all, by few people having required knowledge, few people having required knowledge towards optimum utilization, required knowledge towards optimum utilization to accelerate the rate of economic growth, to accelerate the rate of economic growth. Clear? Right. It is believed that consistent rate of economic growth, shall benefit, mandatorily, shall benefit diverse sections, leading to equality in society. It is also in favor of equality, leading to equality in society. So automatically, not by force like socialism. State there has to force socialism, equality. Clear? It has, here it is automatically to be established in many countries. Clear? Capitalism. Right. This ideology was given. Given intellectual support, by Adam Smith, who advocated the doctrine of laissez-faire, who advocated the doctrine of laissez-faire in his work, laissez-faire in his work, The Wealth of Nations. It's a very important work. Laissez-faire in his work, The Wealth of Nations. The Wealth of Nations. Clear? Right. According to this doctrine, capitalist class is to be given, capitalist class is to be given a free hand, is to be given a free hand to operate economic system, free hand to operate economic system without the intervention of, without the intervention of state or government, without the intervention of the state or government. It's clear. Ideas rules the world. That's the real thing. Clear? These ideas first of all came to British. Clear? They ruled the world. There's no doubt. Clear? So capitalism was to mercantilism, gave way to capitalism. Now after this, just understand. Clear? Capitalist class was given a free hand in 18th century. Capitalist class realized very well there was abundant amount of reserves of coal and iron which could be effectively utilized to accelerate the rate of economic growth. The ultimate objective was to accelerate rate of economic growth. At the same time, clear, capitalist class also realized if they want to earn real profit, they need to go for rapid industrialization so that this industrialization can further accelerate the rate of economic growth. Clear? In order to go for rapid industrialization, what was the first reform undertaken by them? Clear? First reform was an agrarian reform introduced by them because they also realized until they have a buffer stock of food grains, people cannot be diverted to work as laborers in large industrial setups. Clear? First thing, the basic thing that you need is regular supply, buffer stock of food grains so that large number of people could be diverted from agriculture to non-agricultural activities. But for the survival, they need food articles, they need food grains. Clear? And that is why capitalist class started agrarian movement in Britain known as the enclosure movement. Clear? According to this movement, fragmented pieces of agricultural lands under feudal lords were taken and these lands were clubbed together, were fenced together and a large economic unit was created. Clear? So since fragmented lands were clubbed together into large holdings, holistic agriculture policies could be adopted and that led to abundant production of food grains. Clear? This agrarian reform movement is known as the movement known as the enclosure movement in Britain. That is, large agriculture fields began to be enclosed within a boundary wall and this movement came to be known as enclosure. Abundant production of food grains began to take place. This was one reform sequentially. Clear? Once abundant production began to be generated, now they went to some production units. Clear? Still, even at that time, luxury articles were produced by the workers back at their home. Clear? The feudal lords, the monarch, they gave certain inputs or raw materials to the family members. They produced aristocratic articles like clothes and they returned back them with some profit. Clear? This system of production was known as the putting out system or domestic system of production. Clear? Capitalist class brought these domestic producers also at one place. Clear? And in large numbers they were provided with raw materials to produce the amount in bulk. Clear? And in course of time this domestic system of production got replaced by factory system of production. Clear? So large number of domestic workers clubbed together, brought at one place, raw materials provided to them at single place. They began to cooperate, they began to coordinate and production started in a big way. These places where workers began to work together, these places in turn came to be known as the factory setup and domestic system of production got replaced by factory system of production. Clear? And when factory system of production began to take place, capitalist class sponsored a series of scientific inventions and discoveries. Clear? And all these scientific inventions and discoveries largely in the textile sector, the production sector of clothes, and that resulted into establishment of large industrial units in Britain. Clear? So this was gradual movement by the capitalist class when they were given a free hand under the doctrine of laissez-faire. Clear? Right? With autonomy given to the capitalist class, with autonomy given to, like one sentence please first, with autonomy given to the capitalist class, they ensure, began to ensure best possible utilization. They began to ensure best possible utilization of resources, Clear? Right, they sponsored, they sponsored, they sponsored an agrarian reform, they sponsored an agrarian reform, whereby smaller pieces, whereby smaller pieces of agricultural lands, plots, smaller pieces of agricultural lands were clubbed together, CLUBBED. Smaller pieces of agricultural lands were clubbed together into large holdings, which was fenced, enclosed, FENCED, which was fenced or enclosed. That's our movement is known as enclosure movement. Clear? Right. In consolidated land holding, and consolidated land holding, holistic agriculture policy, HOLISTIC, holistic agricultural policies could be adopted. Holistic agricultural policies could be adopted. Land holdings, holistic agriculture policies could be adopted, leading to surplus production of, food grains, very logical. Clear? Right. Consequently, large number of people could be diverted. From agriculture to non-agricultural activities. It includes industrial also. Non-agricultural activities. From agriculture to non-agricultural activities. Clear? Change paragraph. Right. By this time, production activities took place at domestic level. Production activities took place at domestic level. Whereby family members produced luxury items, for aristocratic classes, feudal lords, luxury items for aristocratic classes. Clear? Right. Such domestic system of production, such domestic system of production is popularly known as the putting out system. They were putting raw materials, they were taking finished products. Clear? Is known as the putting out system. Putting raw materials, taking finished products. Clear? Right. These domestic workers were brought, these domestic workers were brought at a common place, common place, and provided with necessary raw materials, and provided with necessary raw materials. Clear? Provided necessary raw materials. Clear? Right. These common places took the form of, these common places took the form of factories, took the form of factories, factories, and putting out system got replaced by, and putting out system got replaced by the factory system, got replaced by the factory system. Clear till this point. So starting gradually, political reforms took place. After political reforms, the concept of mercantilism came, first of all in Britain, then capitalism. Then they began to go for major reforms because they were given a free hand, and this free hand was given because of the doctrine of laissez-faire. Mention these things in chronological order. Clear? Now meanwhile, clear, all these capitalist class, they decided to promote one factory especially related to production of cotton clothes, especially cotton clothes, because Britain was dependent on cotton clothes from Eastern world like India, and they wanted rather to capture the market of Eastern world with respect to cotton clothes. Clear? And just because of this, the capitalist class sponsored series of scientific inventions and discoveries, and this set of scientific inventions and discoveries ultimately brought about industrialization in Britain. We'll come to that set of scientific inventions and discoveries sponsored by capitalist class. It's clear, first of all, the background, sequential order, please. Yeah. Does, huh, that's true. It must have led to some amount of resistance. Clear. See, feudal lords by this time, clear, they were, because why we had discussed mercantilism, we need to understand one thing here. Understand the philosophy. It's very interesting. Clear. Mercantilism is also known in crude form as bullionism. Bullionism is basically a term that indicates hoarding of wealth. That is cornering of wealth. Clear? Okay, why traders are known? Traders, what they do is, clear, they rather purchase less and they sell more because they want to earn profit, and they always want to accumulate that profit. Clear? Mercantilism played a very important role because British mercantilists, when they exported their wealth in other countries of product and they restricted the import, balance of trade was in their favor, and they began to import bullions, that is pure gold, pure metal. Clear? And when they hoarded large amount of wealth at their command, clear, they were in a capacity by this time to offer more than market price to the feudal lords for the land. Clear? And obviously, feudal lords realized it is a profitable thing. In normal practices also, they could not sold the land at that rate. Clear? Since hoarding had already been done, surplus wealth was there with the capitalist class. Clear? With this surplus wealth, they give lucrative prices to the feudal lords. Clear? And they got lured by the lucrative price. They began to sell their land. Clear? And ultimately, when they began to sell their land, lands began to be purchased, clubbed together. They purchased land not only for subsistence agriculture. They practiced land, purchased land because they knew they are going to consolidate them, follow holistic growth, and surplus production could be enhanced. Clear? So they were eyeing on some major profit, not on subsistence. They purchased the land, they started the enclosure movement, and holistic agriculture policies began to follow. Now coming to other side, clear? Feudal lords who, whose rather sold their land, clear, and at the same time earned huge lucrative profit. Where did they invest the money? Clear? In course of time, we'll see, clear, that by this time several private trading companies began to be formed in Britain, guided by capitalism, as state did not intervene. And these feudal lords also in course of time turned out to be semi-capitalists. Clear? They also started to invest their wealth to earn more and more profit. Clear? So obviously the entire British economy got transferred from agriculture to industrial economy, because in course of time even feudal lords became semi-capitalist in nature to earn more and more profit. That was the legacy set by the mercantilist class. It had a cascading effect on other sections. It's clear. We need to understand holistically. It's very important to understand. Clear? Why Britain ruled the world, India and other countries. You need to understand here itself. Then we'll understand British imperialism in a much better way. Clear? Something going on in Britain also. Clear? So this development took place. So obviously, series of scientific inventions and discoveries were sponsored by the capitalist class in Britain. Before we discuss that, understand sequentially. There's a saying in English, necessity is the mother of all inventions. Clear? This necessity, everything is logical. Clear? Necessity is the mother of all inventions. They always wanted to go for those inventions which were needed for development of textile industry in Britain. Clear? Now what are the major things required for textile industry? What is the major thing or primary thing required at the first? Clear? The first thing that is required in any industry is raw materials. Clear? And for cotton industry, what was the raw material? Raw cotton. Clear? And at this time, raw cotton was procured from cotton seeds. When cotton as a plant is grown, it is in the form of cotton seeds. You crush that cotton seeds and take out the raw cotton, that is the bone at the time. Clear? Or rather later on known as yarn. Clear? So obviously the cotton seeds had to be crushed. Till that time, cotton seeds were crushed manually. Clear? Now, if you crush cotton seeds manually, it is a time-taking process. At the same time, you cannot generate more and more yarn also, because obviously manual effort is required. So, this was the first necessity felt by the capitalist class. So, capitalist class asked scientific persons of Britain to develop a device, to invent a device whereby mechanically we can take away cotton from cotton seeds, not manually. Clear? And in this respect, therefore, the first scientific invention which was done in Britain was done by a scientific personality known as Ely Whitney. Clear? This person, Ely Whitney, invented a mechanical device. This mechanical device is known as the cotton gin. Clear? The purpose of cotton gin was that they began to crush the cotton with this mechanical device and thereafter take away cotton easily. Clear? So replacing the manual method of separating cotton from cotton seeds, mechanical device began to be used so that more and more cotton could be segregated from cotton seeds, and thereafter the cotton could be used for production activities. This was one thing. Clear? When large amount of cotton was generated, which is in the form of rui, that is yarn. Clear? The next important challenge is to convert this yarn into fine threads, because these threads only will be used to manufacture clothes. Now what is required for threads? Clear? If you have large amount of yarn, large amount of cotton, to convert them into threads, you require a mechanical device. Clear? And this mechanical device, which was invented in Britain at the time, was known as a spinning machine, that is charkha. Clear? A spinning machine was invented by a person known as Hargreaves. Clear? But when this spinning machine was invented by Hargreaves, it was to be operated manually, as it was operated by Mahatma Gandhi in modern India. Clear? To convert the cotton into threads, obviously spinning machine began to be operated manually. Clear? This was done. At the same time, it was realized it has also to be done mechanically, and therefore after the invention of cotton gin, next scientific person came, and that person was known as Richard Arkwright, and invented a device known as water frame. Clear? And with the flow of water, with the energy of flowing water, this spinning machine began to be operated, and therefore yarn began to be converted into fine clothes. That is, with the kinetic energy of water, the machine could be rotated, and with this rotation of machine, the cotton could be converted to fine threads. This is known as kinetic energy of water. The two energies, potential energy, kinetic energy. Potential energy is when water flows from a height. Clear? Kinetic energy is what energy of flowing water. Clear? With flowing water, the spinning machine began to be operated and cotton began to be converted into fine threads. And the inventions of Arkwright and Hargreaves were combined together by another person known as Samuel Crompton. And Samuel Crompton produced modern mechanical spinning machine. Clear? And with this spinning machine, large amount of fine threads began to be produced, and these threads began to be converted into fine clothes. Clear? This was three interrelated developments related to spinning machine. So first is cotton gin, and then another is spinning machine. Clear? Right? First of all, this one. Clear? Right? The first major scientific invention, the first major scientific invention was related to the separation of raw cotton from cotton seeds. Separation of raw cotton from cotton seeds. Clear? Right. A scientific person, Ellie Whitney, a scientific person, Ellie Whitney, invented a mechanical device, cotton gin. Invented a mechanical device, cotton gin, G-I-N, clear, cotton gin, to separate, cotton gin, G-I-N, to separate raw cotton from seeds. To separate raw cotton from seeds. One thing done, clear? Right. In order to convert raw cotton into threads, a scientific personality, Hargreaves, clear? Hargreaves invented a spinning machine. Hargreaves invented a spinning machine. Right? However, this device was to be operated manually. Clear? Right. After some time, another scientific person, Richard Arkwright, A-R-K-W-R-I-G-S-T, scientific person Richard Arkwright invented water frame. To operate a spinning machine, with the kinetic energy of water. It's a very important concept for engineers. Clear? Kinetic energy of water, flowing water. Clear? Right. The inventions of Hargreaves and Arkwright Hargreaves, and Arkwright were combined together, were combined together by Samuel Crompton. We have a big company of electronics named after him. Clear? Crompton. Clear? Combined by scientific person Samuel Crompton to produce modern spinning machine. To produce modern spinning machine. Spinning machine. Major development. Clear? Change paragraph. Clear? Right. The most important scientific invention. The most important scientific invention was done by James Watt. Was done by James Watt in form of the steam engine. This is the most revolutionary invention. The steam engine write the year also, in 1769. Clear? That originally the steam engine was used. Originally the steam engine was used. 1769. Dates are not important. I'll discuss about that also. Don't worry. Clear? This is the most important one. I made you right. Clear? But we'll come to that. Clear? Right. This, right, originally the steam engine was used to procure, Procure, to procure coal and iron, beneath the surface. Coal and iron beneath the surface. It was waterlogged regions, just to eliminate the water and to take away the mineral wealth. Okay? Right. In the beginning of the 19th century, a steam engine began to be used for locomotive purposes, transportation purposes. Began to be used for locomotive purposes with improvements made by George Stephenson. So it began to be used for locomotives. Clear? Right. In the field of transportation, another scientific person MacAdam, invented pucka roads or permanent roads. To connect raw material producing areas with factories. Even now in Britain, the roads are known as macadamized roads because it was invented by MacAdam. Clear? So important development, scientific. Clear? All this ultimately led to replacement of manual power or muscle power of human beings with mechanical power of machines. Clear? Write one sentence. I'll come. Write one sentence. That all these scientific inventions ultimately led to the replacement of replacement of the muscle power of human beings, replacement of the muscle power of human beings with with the mechanical power of machines, mechanical power of machines, to be termed as industrial revolution, to be termed as industrial revolution. It cannot be reversed till date. Clear? So mechanical age. This major development took place in 18th century. Clear? So all these were factors leading to industrialization in Britain. Please first. With coming of machines, unemployment began to take place. I'll let you know. Clear? Why unemployment did not become an issue in Britain, as it becomes problem in other countries. We'll come to that. Very valid one. Clear? So this is clear. So if you get a question, why industrial revolution first took place in Britain, answer is very clear to all of you. You have to start with political reforms first took place in Britain. Then you have to talk about the mercantilism. Then you have to talk about hoarding of wealth. Then at the same time, capitalism, enclosure movement, series of scientific inventions and discoveries, all leading to replacement of muscle power with mechanical power of machines. Clear? Now here question is clear. Why unemployment, or what happened to the level of unemployment that may have been created with establishment of industries in Britain? Because wherever industries comes, obviously large number of people becomes unemployed, because most of the people, or agriculture has the capacity to absorb more and more people. Clear? So obviously when industries come, people becomes unemployed in large number. That's a normal trend. Clear? That is seen in our country also. Clear? But at the same time, what happened in Britain? Clear? In Britain, because of rapid industrialization, unemployment did not take place in large number. Clear? Why did not take place in large number? First reason to be known. Clear? If you look into the demography of United Kingdom even now, clear, this country is a country of sparsely populated people, native Britons, native British, clear. So obviously even at the time, population of England was highly restricted in nature. In fact, clear, to make people run industries without any interruption day and night, clear, British started the dubious practice of importing people from Asia and Africa, and they started a very controversial trade known as slave trade. Clear? So large number of people were rather brought from other countries to work for unregulated number of hours in the industrial setups. Clear? So quite obviously it makes it very clear Britain did not have that amount of population which could have been unemployed with coming of industries. That is why Britain wholeheartedly accepted industrialization, because anyway they realized it will lead to rapid growth and development, and most of them became capitalists, most of them became semi-capitalists in course of time. And who were the workers on whose hard work the industries began to operate? Not the original British people, the people brought from Asia and Africa through a dubious trade known as slave trade. Clear? And that led to negative consequences later on, will come as a consequence of industrialization. Clear? So no problem of unemployment for native British, and more importantly employment for people coming from Asia and Africa. Clear? This is one thing. There are many countries in Europe even now who the countries are marked by negative growth rate. Clear? Russia. Russia is a country where the growth rate is negative. That is why they invite the people from other countries of the world to pursue professional degrees like engineering and medical. Clear? And large number of Indian students also they're pursuing medical colleges or medical education in Russia and Ukraine. Most of them came out after Russia-Ukraine war. Clear? Why? This country is facing as negative growth rate. Clear? And India as a country, the largest populous country in the world, we have huge amount of population base, we can divert large number of people to any part of the world, and we don't have any problem also, even though it amounts to drain of wealth, or rather drain of brain drain. Why we encourage them? Because the people going to work outside India, they transfer large part of the salary back to India, and salary transfer becomes huge amount of foreign exchange known as remittances in India. So obviously we encourage them. We don't discourage that thing, clear? Because we have got huge population base and we cannot provide employment to all of them. That's a reality because absorption of those popular people or blue collar people is not possible in Indian economy. So we encourage them to go outside to work for more and to return the amount back to India, leading to remittances or salary transfer. In fact, India is the largest receiver of remittances all across the world. Most of it remittances come to Kerala because from every household, 2 or 3 people are there in West Asia or Middle East, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, Saudi Arabia, many countries. Clear? So Kerala is the largest receiver. India is the largest receiver of remittances. Clear? That can happen in India. That never happened in Britain, Europe. Europe was sparsely populated. Clear? This is one thing. Clear? So this major development, so industrialization began to take place. Rapid industries began to be formed in Britain. Capitalist class came into forefront. Multiplication of population also began to take place because buffer stock of food grains was there just because of enclosure movement. Clear? Now at the same time, just understand, clear? When rapid industrialization began to take place in Britain and at the same time Britain became industrialized in course of time, this industrial revolution also had different consequences, first in Britain and then in other parts of the world. That is why we consider industrial revolution to be template of world history. It provided the template for all further developments in India. Clear? So consequences becomes very important. First of all, clear? Due to industrialization in Britain, first of all, population began to multiply. And since large amount of population began to multiply, clear, most of these people shifted towards factory setups. And surrounding the factory setups, large number of urban centers came into being. Clear? So Britain witnessed rapid urbanization and population growth as a consequence of industrialization. Several industrial centers like Manchester, Leeds, clear, London, all of them began to be formed in Britain. And so internally Britain witnessed multiplication of population, multiplication of urban centers, clear? But at the same time, in these urban centers only, clear? Since large number of slaves were brought from Asia and Africa, they were forced to work under unhygienic conditions, clear? Apart from prosperity of the capitalist class, on the other hand, condition of workers remain to be pathetic, clear? In fact, apart from large and flourishing cities, large number of slums were also formed in major cities of Britain, clear? And in these slums, under unhygienic condition, the workers used to stay. They used to work day and night to make industrial setup successful in Britain, clear? In course of time, because of pathetic condition of workers in Britain, some capitalist class only came forward and they asked that capitalist class should come forward to share their wealth to some extent with the working class, because without the hard work, industrialization cannot become successful. When they talked about distributing the wealth with the working class, clear? This marked the rudimentary beginning of a new ideology. This ideology is known as socialist ideology, clear? So do understand the chain of events, clear? Capitalism led to industrial revolution. Industrial revolution in turn led to socialist ideology in Britain for the first time, because some people asked for distribution of wealth among the working class as well. However, no distribution took place, clear? Because working or rather capitalist class were not bound by such orders, clear? And that is why it was as a moral duty to distribute the resources among the working class. That is why these socialist leaders that emerged as a consequence of industrialization, these leaders are known as utopian socialist, clear? And the socialism promoted by them as a religious duty, moral duty, is known as Christian socialism, clear? So the first variant form of socialism that emerged as a consequence of industrialization is known as Christian socialism. These socialist leaders known as utopian socialists because their ideas remained only on pages. They never got implemented on ground level, clear? And they were criticized later by a scientific socialist leader of 19th century. This scientific socialist leader was a German scholar, Karl Marx, clear? Who advocated scientific socialism, also known as Marxism in course of time, clear? And therefore Karl Marx only used the term utopian socialist for these leaders as their theory could not have impact on working class in Britain. But it cannot be denied, industrialization resulted into rise of rudimentary socialism, which was given scientific basis by Karl Marx when he wrote a work in 1848 known as the Communist Manifesto. Clear? We'll come to this work, Communist Manifesto and Theories of Karl Marx. This initial consequence is clear. Right, next paragraph. Clear? Right, the Industrial Revolution in Britain. The Industrial Revolution in Britain, had had long-term consequences, had long-term consequences which are found, while this is very relevant, which are found even in contemporary times, even present times, which are found even in contemporary times. Clear? Right. First of all, due to buffer stock of food grains, first of all, due to buffer stock, BUFFER, any term which is not clear, let me know, I explain. Due to buffer stock of food grains, population multiplied, and most of them shifted towards the emerging urban centers. The emerging urban centers. This is known as pull factor. Shifted towards urban centers. There's no push factor. In economy we'll learn push factor and pull factor. Clear? It's but basically push factor. Clear? And at the attraction as well. Clear? Urban centers. Like several urban centers came into being. Several urban centers came into being, marked by prosperity. Leeds, Manchester, Bristol, marked by prosperity, like some of them, like Leeds and Manchester. LEEDS, Leeds and Manchester. Leeds and Manchester. Clear? Right. At the same time, these urban centers were also marked by, there's a negative consequence also. These urban centers were also marked by large number of slums, inhabited by the slaves brought from Asia and Africa. But dubious activity. Brought from Asia and Africa. Clear? Right. These slaves stayed under unhygienic conditions, which were highlighted by a British writer, Charles Dickens, British novelist Charles Dickens. Clear? Right. Consequently, some thinkers began to advocate philosophers began to advocate that resources should also be shared with, resources should also be shared with the working class, shared with the working class, which marked the rudimentary beginning of, which marked the rudimentary beginning of the socialist philosophy. We'll come to this. Rudimentary beginning of socialist philosophy. Clear? Right. This variant of socialism, this variant of socialism is known as Christian socialism. It was basically as a moral duty. This variant of socialism is known as Christian socialism, which was primarily in form of moral discourse, which was primarily in form of moral discourse. DISCOURSE, moral discourse. Okay. Change paragraph. Yeah, they were critique. They were not openly critique, but they wanted that even though capitalism is rather flourishing, some capitalists should share the wealth with the working class also to improve the might, improve the condition. So they were not open critic of laissez-faire or Adam Smith, but they deviated from the complete ownership of wealth by the few hands. That is the capitalist class. Yeah, initially by the feudal lords assisted that, but since it was taken over very strongly by the capitalist class, feudal lords could not endure, could not resist for some long time. But some resistance was given to Adam Smith also, clear? But this time, it was basically not because, obviously, Adam Smith advocated laissez-faire. Laissez-faire was going on. Meanwhile, they advocated sharing of wealth with the working class. That's all. Not as a scientific measure. Huh? Huh? See, I'll let you know. Just understand, please. Please focus. Question here is Christian socialism somehow related to evangelicalism? This or led to evangelicalism? Am I right? See, this term has come, you need to understand. Clear? Evangelicalism again originated from Britain largely. Evangelicalism is a philosophy largely related to show the superiority of Christian faith. And it was shown largely to promote religious proselytization or religious conversions. Clear? Here it was not meant for religious conversion. Here it was meant basically to serve the interest of some people who could contribute more eagerly towards industrialization rather than to convert them into Christianity. Clear? Later on, British authority decided to convert large number of people in Eastern Africa into Christian faith because they wanted to convert this region into large market for British goods. This philosophy thereafter came to be known as evangelicalism. Immediately did not lead to any sense of evangelicalism, but it is known as Christian socialism because it was as a moral duty which was advocated by some thinkers. It's clear, please. Huh? Most of them were indentured labor only. Indentured labor means forced labor. INDENTURED. Clear? Indentured labor are forced labor. Clear? Most of them were forced labor only. Clear? Forced labor meaning thereby they could not leave the job without informing the master. Clear? And most of that time they were employed throughout their life. Clear? So obviously they came to be known as indentured labor, forced labor. Clear? Because they were not given wages and all regularly. They were made to work day and night. Clear? So obviously it was a kind of forced one, not voluntary one. If it could have been a voluntary one, they could not have been forced to stay in London or Britain for a longer period of time. So it was indentured labor, forced labor. Clear? Now, coming to this, clear? This was one thing. Just because of this, these socialists are also known as utopian socialists because the effect was not felt. And this term utopian socialist for them was used by 19th century German scholar Karl Marx. We'll come to his philosophy, very important one. Clear? Right here only. Clear? Right. These socialist thinkers could not have. These socialist thinkers could not have much impact, could not have much impact on distribution of wealth, on distribution of wealth, and they were termed as and they were termed as utopian socialist, bookish socialist. They were termed as utopian socialist, by a German thinker, by a German thinker, Karl Marx. 19th German thinker Karl Marx, belonging to the 19th century, 1813 to 1887, belonging to 19th century. Clear? Now we'll understand his philosophy. Very important one to understand. Clear? See, these are last initial classes. Why? Clear? Socialism, communism, capitalism will come into discussion in every module of GS. Clear? It will be in social issues also. It will be in polity also. It will be in other areas like IR also. Clear? So do understand the ideologies here itself. Clear? Now what exactly do we mean by the socialism advocated by Karl Marx in the 19th century, and why he termed these socialists to be utopian socialists or theoretical or bookish socialists? Clear? Karl Marx was a German thinker and philosopher who wrote a very important work in 1848 known as the Communist Manifesto, in which he explained his own concept of socialism, which is known as scientific socialism, which is also known as Marxist socialism, named after him. Clear? And what was this Marxist socialism explained by him in the Communist Manifesto? Clear? The scientific socialism of Karl Marx is based on three major pillars or concepts. Clear? One concept is known as theory of historical materialism. Clear? Second concept is related to theory of class struggle. Clear? And third important concept is related to theory of surplus value. Clear? So scientific socialism of Karl Marx is purely mathematical in nature. Clear? Purely scientific in nature, and that is why it is known as scientific socialism, based on historical materialism, theory of class struggle, and finally theory of surplus value. Now what do we mean by this? Clear? According to theory of historical materialism, Karl Marx is the only person who gave economic interpretation to history. Clear? And what is this economic interpretation to history? Clear? He said that since the evolution of mankind, clear, there has always been contest between the dominant community and the weaker community to acquire more and more material wealth. Clear? So all the wars, all the battles which has been fought in any part of the world in history, it has only been for acquiring material wealth, in which dominant class has subjugated the weaker section, took away the material wealth, and this material wealth led to further discrimination between the classes having huge wealth and classes having only subsistence wealth. Clear? This economic interpretation of history, whereby contest has always been for material wealth, this phenomena is known as historical materialism. Clear? Associated with this only Karl Marx explained in course of time, when wealth got accumulated into the hands of one section and another section were bereft of basic resources also. Clear? It resulted into two distinct classes, these classes being known as haves and have-nots. Clear? That is the class having all the resources and the class bereft of any basic resources as well. And then when these two classes of haves and have-nots started, it also marked the beginning of class struggle between haves and have-nots, which is known as theory of class struggle. Clear? This was in historical time, but when industrialization took place in Britain, clear, Karl Marx explained this concept of haves and have-nots with respect to industrialization also. And he said that through industrialization based on capitalism, Resources has remained confined to the capitalist class and worker class has left with bare subsistence level. Clear? And therefore he termed the capitalist class, the upper middle class, as the bourgeois class, clear, and the working class as the proletariat class. And he made it clear, a time will come when proletariat class will unite together and they will react against the bourgeois domination, leading to radical changes, clear. So class struggle itself will lead to revolutionary changes in any society, the most important example being Russian Revolution of 1917, clear, where proletariats revolted against the bourgeois domination in Russian economy, clear. This was one concept elaborated, clear. So he explained this concept with respect to industrialization also, clear, and how this class of haves and have-nots has been formed because of industrialization. He explained this with his third pillar known as theory of surplus value, pure mathematical, clear. According to the theory of surplus value, he made it very clear, that when workers are employed by any capitalist, clear, the workers are paid only their hard work or only remuneration as wages, clear. So workers are paid only the fixed wages, but Karl Marx, through empirical analysis, data analysis, made it clear that these wages paid to the workers is much less than the output generated by the workers, clear. So output generated by the workers is always more than the wages paid to the workers by the capitalist class, and this difference between output and wages is termed by Karl Marx as surplus value that goes directly into the pocket of the bourgeois class, clear. So real profit goes in the hands of bourgeois class, and this is termed by mathematical formula known as difference between output and wages of the workers, clear. And in course of time, according to Karl Marx, just because of this mathematical formula, rich becomes richer, poor becomes poorer, clear, and the gulf becomes widened between haves and have-nots, clear. And just because of this, a time will come when proletariat, the working class, will have no choice rather abruptly end the bourgeois domination through revolutionary changes, clear. This is known as theory of surplus value. Now, quite mathematical, quite scientific in nature, and therefore socialism after Karl Marx began to be propagated very prominently all across the world. In the lifetime of Karl Marx, these ideas did not become popular. When Karl Marx died, his childhood friend known as Friedrich Engels published his work, that is the Communist Manifesto, along with Das Kapital, and thereafter the philosophy of Karl Marx acquired currency all across the world, even leading to a greatest ideological revolution known as Bolshevik Revolution or Russian Revolution of 1917. Clear? This was a natural consequence of industrialization. Clear? So industrialization acted as template for ideological developments as well. It's clear. Scientific socialism, three pillars: historical materialism, theory of class struggle, theory of surplus value. Clear? All interrelated with each other. Clear? Right about the scientific socialism. Clear? Right. Right. Karl Marx wrote an important work. Karl Marx wrote an important work, the Communist Manifesto. Wrote an important work, the Communist Manifesto in 1848. Communist Manifesto in 1848, in which he explained the philosophy of scientific socialism. It also known as the Marxism. Philosophy of scientific socialism. Okay, that this philosophy is based on three major concepts. This philosophy is based on three major concepts, like historical materialism, three major concepts like historical materialism, class struggle, and surplus value. Class struggle and surplus value. Clear? Surplus value. Clear? Change paragraph now. Right. Karl Marx gave economic interpretation. Karl Marx gave economic interpretation to history, economic interpretation to history, whereby, whereby, whereby historical evolution is explained. Historical evolution is explained as a continuous contest, as a continuous contest to acquire, continuous contest to acquire, contest to acquire, historical evolution as a continuous contest to acquire material wealth, to acquire material wealth. Clear? Right? The dominant community always tried, the dominant community always tried to subjugate the weaker sections, the weaker sections to acquire material resource, to acquire material resource. Clear? Change paragraph. Right. Due to uneven distribution of wealth, due to uneven distribution of wealth, society was marked by two distinct classes. Society was marked by two distinct classes of haves and have-nots. Two distinct classes of haves and have-nots. Have-nots. Clear? Right. This resulted into regular struggle between the two classes, class struggle, regular struggle between the two classes, which continues till contemporary times, which continues till contemporary times. Clear? Contemporary times. Clear? Change paragraph. Right. Karl Marx explained the phenomena of class struggle. Karl Marx explained the phenomena of class struggle, after industrial revolution, after industrial revolution, clear? Like the class of haves, the class of haves is termed as the bourgeois class. The class of haves is termed as the bourgeois class, bourgeoisie, bourgeois class, and the class of have-nots as, the proletariats. Class of have-nots as proletariats. Have-nots as proletariats. Proletariats, clear? Right, proletariats. Right. The conflict between these classes The conflict between these classes has been explained through the theory of has been explained through the theory of surplus value. Theory of surplus value. Clear? Now what is this? Clear? That the output generated by the workers, the output generated by the workers is much more than the wages, is much more than the wages, and this difference is known as the surplus value, known as the surplus value, which is the real profit of the capitalist class, the bourgeois class, real profit of the capitalist class. Clear? Now write the consequence. Clear? Change paragraph. Like based on scientific socialism, the greatest ideological revolution, the greatest ideological revolution occurred in form of OCCURED, occurred in form of the Russian Revolution in 1917. It stays back to Industrial Revolution. Occurred in form of Russian Revolution in 1917. We'll come to that. Clear? So template, because all major developments is guided by industrialization. Clear? So very important one, very important consequence. Clear? So scientific socialism by Karl Marx. Clear? Very different from utopian socialism or Christian socialism. Clear? Meanwhile, just understand. Clear? Industrial revolution acted as the template for developments in other countries of the world, because it had impact on other countries and they need to be understood. Clear? Other countries also started industrialization course of time, and these countries began to have huge differences with Britain, because all these countries decided to have control over more and more areas of Asia, Africa and America, leading to race for imperialism and colonialism. So imperialism and colonialism is also traced to industrial revolution and its impact. Clear? Now just understand from here. Clear? After success of English industrial revolution, other European powers also wanted to go for rapid industrialization. Clear? The second European country to start rapid industrialization was the mainland country of Europe, and this country was France. Clear? France also had sufficient reserves of coal and iron, but France could not start industrialization along with Britain, because France was dominated by a nexus of autocratic monarchy, the dominance of clergy and domination of feudal laws. Clear? But this entire structure of medieval time was eroded in France as a consequence of French Revolution from 1789 till 1799. Clear? And with success of French Revolution, a very powerful leader began to rule France, that is Napoleon Bonaparte. Clear? And Napoleon Bonaparte started rapid industrialization of France. Clear? And when France started rapid industrialization based on same mercantilist and capitalist philosophy, clear, France also decided to explore other parts of the world to bring men and material like the British. Clear? So France also jumped in the race to acquire colonies and control over Asia, Africa and North America. And just because of this only, Britain and France emerged to be arch rivals in European politics, and their rivalry got reflected in India also, as the respective companies fought three wars in India known as Carnatic Wars in modern history. Clear? Largely to do with the rivalry coming from Europe only. Clear? So France began to catch up very fast along with Britain. It started rapid industrialization, and that marked the beginning of race for imperialism and colonialism. Clear? Here only we'll understand another concept. These are initial classes. Conceptual clarity is very important. Clear? What do we mean by imperialism and colonialism? Are the two terms same, or is there any difference between imperialism and colonialism? Any difference or similar? Is there any difference between imperialism and colonialism? Difference is there. What is the difference? What is imperialism? What is imperialism? You keep on coming across this term off and on, imperialism and colonialism, and the two terms are used together or rather interchangeably. Is there any difference? Ah.
Colonialism, the main focus of colonialism is the economic exploitation, and the imperialism is the political domination with that economic exploitation.
Completely segregated into political and economic domain. Imperialism has to do with political domination, you mean to say, and colonialism has to do with economic.
Gradually, with the colonization, imperialism takes place.
Gradually with colonization,
The imperialism comes through because whenever the East India
imperialism follows colonialism. Okay.
imperialism is the control of the monarchy and colonialism is basically the control of the capitalist class.
Imperialism is the control of British monarch, and colonialism is the control of the capitalist class. Okay. To be more specific, more precise, any idea? Imperialism, colonialism, clear-cut difference. You need to be conceptually very clear. Mains is not about facts. And here only I'll let you know, clear? Dates and all. You are not supposed to write dates. Normally, there's a wrong perception that history is about dates and names. While you write answers, you don't need to write any dates and all. You need to write conceptually and just conceptually clear answer. Dates and all. Don't write in fact, even if you remember also. Clear? If you write 1769, for example, you were asking about, write just one thing in the second half of 18th century to be on safer side. If you write a proper date or exact date, you will not be given any credit. But if you write a wrong date, you will surely be penalized. Understand the nuances also of examination. Clear? If you write a proper date, you will not be given any extra mark. But if you write a wrong date, you will surely be penalized. What is the point of writing date? Write the broad period that is enough. They are not looking for date. They are looking for your analysis, your understanding. Clear? Write second half of 18th century. If you want to write more precise, you write last quarter of 18th century. If you want to be more precise, you can write in the second or the second last decade of the 18th century. If you want to be more precise, but don't write 1769. Restrict yourself. Restraining is also very important. Clear? Don't try to show off your knowledge. Those are retired professors. They are not impressed by your knowledge. They are only looking for one thing: answer to their question. And write what has been asked. Don't write what you know. 90% of the people write what they know. Only 10% writes what has been asked. And those who write what has been asked, they are in the list. Getting my point? Don't worry about those dates and all. Understand things very clearly, because when you start writing, realize facts and figures are not required. Clear? Coming to this. Clear? Imperialism and colonialism. Clear? Imperialism is a phenomena whereby one country, or the home country as it is termed, establishes control over another country in a proxy style. Proxy style means not a direct control over another country, but proxy control by staying back in their own country. Clear? And only with the few people transported to another country, they try to exercise control over another country. It is known as imperial control. Clear? That is monarch. She is right. Monarch establishing control. But monarch not directly. Proxy control over another country. Indirect control over another country. This is known as imperialism. Clear? So it's a proxy control and guided by the logic of maximizing the profit. Clear? So proxy control exercised by one country headed by its monarch over another country is known as imperialism. Clear? This is one concept. Colonialism is totally different. Clear? Colonialism is a concept whereby people of one country or home country in large number, they shift to another country as immigrants. Clear? Immigrants means permanently to another country. Clear? So when large chunk of population of one country shifts to another country to stay there permanently as immigrants. Clear? Then this phenomena whereby one country comes under the control of the people of another country directly, this is known as colonialism. Clear? So there's a difference between imperialism and colonialism. Imperialism is just a proxy control by one country over another country. Colonialism is when people of one country shift to another country directly to stay there permanently and to make that country their own country in course of time. This is known as colonialism. Clear? India initially was under imperial control. Clear? Later on, India became colony when large number of British people shifted and most of them stayed back in India for continuous period of time. In contrast to this, America was a colony of Britain because large number of British shifted to America to stay there permanently. Clear? And there they established 13 colonies along the Atlantic coast known as 13 British colonies in America. We'll come to American history. Clear? So America was basically colony of Britain. India was not a colony. India initially was under imperial control of Britain. Later on got converted into colony of Britain from 1813 when India was eliminated from the monopoly of British East India Company. Clear? This difference needs to be understood between imperialism and colonialism, which is also a legacy of industrialization. Clear? That started after Britain in the country of France. Clear? Right, next paragraph. Right, as a consequence of English Industrial Revolution, as a consequence of English Industrial Revolution, comma, other countries also started rapid industrialization, rapid industrialization, rapid industrialization. Right. The second European power, power was France, to launch industrialization, after the French Revolution. We'll come to this revolution, very important one. After the French Revolution. Clear? Right. On the pattern of Britain, France also began to promote control over countries of Asia, Africa, and North America. That's present Canada and United States. Asia, Africa, and North America. Clear? That this resulted into the race for imperialism and colonialism. This led to race for race for imperialism and colonialism. We'll come to intensity in this race later on when third party came. Clear? This was France. Again, understand, just clear. We'll review the whole Europe at this time only, most of it. Clear? The third European power to start industrialization after Britain and France was the country of Germany. Clear? Germany got unified as a nation state in 1871 under a very powerful leader, Otto von Bismarck. Clear? Who is known for his policy of blood and iron. Clear? So Bismarck unified Germany in 1871, and Germany had more resources of coal and iron as compared even to France and Britain. Clear? And that is why the pace of industrialization in Germany was much higher even than Britain also. Clear? So Germany began to get industrialized in a very rapid manner just because of abundant resources of coal and iron. The most important region being the region known as Ruhr region in Germany, also known as the region of Saar Valley in Germany. They had abundant amount of coal and iron. Clear? And Bismarck, being a very visionary leader, Bismarck not only started industrialization in Germany, he also started the process of militarization in Germany. Clear? He not only wanted to make Germany economically powerful, clear? He wanted to make Germany militarily powerful because he wanted to have a larger share in global domination, and he knew in coming time the biggest hurdle for the rise of Germany would be Britain, the most important power at this time. So Germany started naval power to be developed, and Germany wanted to counter the naval superiority of Britain. So German industrialization was accompanied with militarization program. And like France and Britain, Germany also began to acquire colonies in Asia and Africa. But by this time, most of Asia and Africa had been parceled out between Britain and France. Nothing was left for Germany, so Germany began to take action against Britain and France only to acquire the colonies in Asia and Africa. This led to intense rivalry for imperialism and colonialism, and this intense rivalry was a major reason for two catastrophic wars fought at global level in the 20th century, known as the First and the Second World War. Germany was largely responsible for both the wars, as Germany wanted to take the share of Britain and France, especially in Asia and Africa. So template to world wars was also provided by industrialization in Britain. Clear? This is the third one, right? Next, clear? The third European power to start industrialization, the third European power to start industrialization was Germany, after its unification, in 1871, right? Second half of 19th century. Clear? In 1871. Clear? Right. Germany had abundant reserves. Germany had abundant reserves of coal and iron. Germany had abundant reserves of coal and iron in regions like the Ruhr Valley, very prominent one. Regions like Ruhr Valley. In present times also, wherever a country has abundant amount of mineral wealth, that region is known as the Ruhr of that country. Which is the Ruhr of India? Which is the Ruhr of India? Which region is known as the Ruhr of India? Huh? Durgapur, Jamshedpur. I'm talking about the region, geographical belt. It's Chota Nagpur Plateau. All these regions comes under Chota Nagpur Plateau. Clear? It's known as the Chota Nagpur Belt. Clear? That's covering the regions of West Bengal, Jharkhand, to some extent Chhattisgarh. Clear? These regions known as Chota Nagpur, and this is our Ruhr. That is Ruhr compared with Germany, having abundant amount of mineral wealth. Clear? So Ruhr Valley. Clear? Right. Therefore, Germany started. Started rapid industrialization, and And this pace was much higher than this pace, PACE. This pace was much higher than Britain and France. Much higher than Britain and France. Much higher than Britain and France. Britain and France, clear? Like at the same time, Germany also started. At the same time, Germany also started the ambitious scheme started the ambitious scheme of militarization scheme of militarization especially related to especially related to naval warfare, especially related to naval warfare, NAVAL, naval warfare, just to challenge Britain, clear? Naval warfare, clear? This was Germany, clear? Right? Even Germany began to acquire colonies. Even Germany began to acquire colonies in Asia and Africa, colonies in Asia and Africa, which intensified the race war, which intensified the race for imperialism and colonialism, which intensified the race for imperialism and colonialism. Okay? Like ultimately, this rivalry, this rivalry became a major reason. Ultimately, this rivalry became a major reason for two world wars. For two world wars in the first half of two world wars in the first half of the 20th century. First half of the 20th century. Clear? Three countries as a consequence coming to the fourth one. Just understand, very unique. Clear? The fourth European power to start industrialization. This country was Russia. Clear? Also counted to some extent in Asian continent. Clear? Russia started rapid industrialization only after Russian Revolution of 1917. Clear? And after this revolution, Russia came under the leadership of a very prominent socialist leader, Vladimir Lenin. Clear? And after the death of Lenin, Russia, that became Soviet Union, came under the dictatorship of Stalin. Clear? And both Lenin and Stalin promoted the rapid economic development in Russia. Clear? And Russia also started establishment of large industries. Clear? These industries in Russia was largely related to oil and gas, because Russia has abundant amount of oil and gas reserves, especially in Siberian region. Even till date, those resources has not been properly tapped by Russia, and therefore large amount of unreserved resources are still there in Russia. Clear? Since Russia is a large country, Russia already had abundant amount of resources which could not be tapped. Russia did not go for acquiring colonies in Asia and Africa. Clear? So in contrast to Britain, France and Germany, industrialization Russia was more peaceful in nature, as Russia never went for acquiring colonies in Asia and Africa. But Russia began to get industrialized very soon after 1917, and thereafter Russian model of growth, which was marked by socialist pattern, clear, attracted the countries of Central Asia, and 15 republics of Central Asia joined Russia, and it came to be known as Union Soviet Socialist Republic, or USSR, also known as Soviet Union. Clear? And that became a major power in global politics under the leadership of Stalin. Clear? This was Russian industrialization, quite distinct from industrialization of Britain, France, and Germany. Clear? Right, next. The next major country to start industrialization, the next major country to start industrialization was Russia after after successful Russian Revolution, after successful Russian Revolution of 1917. 1917. Clear? Right. The Russian leaders, Vladimir Lenin, Russian leaders, Vladimir Lenin, followed by Stalin, Vladimir Lenin, followed by Stalin, promoted industrialization, promoted industrialization on socialist philosophy, not on capitalist. Socialist, capitalist industrialization on socialist philosophy with complete control of the state. It's no command economy. With complete control of the state. No laissez-faire. Clear? Complete control of the state. Clear? Right. This model of industrialization, this model of industrialization became highly successful, and 15 republics of Central Asia and 15 republics of Central Asia joined Russia. 15 republics of Central Asia joined Russia, that came to be known as Union Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR or Soviet Union. That came to be known as Union Soviet Socialist Republic. Right only. It must be noted. Next sentence. It must be noted that Russia never tried. It must be noted that Russia never tried to acquire colonies, never tried to acquire colonies in Asia or Africa, in Asia or Africa, due to its large territory. Russia itself is a big country. Due to its large territory and untapped resources, untapped, UNTAPPED, unutilized, untapped resources like oil and gas. Even India is exploring that in Siberian region. Clear? Untapped resources of oil and gas. You must be knowing we have ONGC. There's a foreign wing of ONGC known as OVL, ONGC Videsh Limited, that has acquired equity stake in major oil companies of Russia. Clear? Sakhalin 1. Sakhalin 1 is a big oil field and gas field in Siberian region. Clear? Russia alone cannot exploit these sources even now. Clear? It is taking the technical support of other countries like India. And we have this company known as OVL that is doing this work in Siberian Peninsula, Siberian region. Please. No, scientific socialism. In fact, no. Utopian socialism never came in picture, never got implemented on ground. That is why they are known as the utopian socialists. So scientific socialism. In fact, we'll discuss. Russian Revolution was largely based on Marxist principle only. That is, class of haves and have-nots, proletariat and the bourgeois contest. Now, just understand. After this, clear. As a consequence of industrialization, this phenomena remained confined not only to Europe. Clear? This phenomena of industrialization even touched and influenced a faraway region known as North American continent. Clear? And this North American continent also witnessed rapid industrialization in 19th century, but we call this industrialization as second industrial revolution. Clear? Why? Because it is quite different from industrialization of European world. So European industrialization is known as first industrial revolution, US industrialization known as second industrial revolution in 19th century. Brief history. Clear? First of all, North American region corresponding with the region of Alaska on the top along 180-degree international date line, Alaska followed by Canada, Canada followed by United States, United States followed by Mexico. Clear? This entire region largely known as North America. This region was dominated by European powers like Britain and France. But in course of time, America became independent in 1782 as a consequence of American War of Independence. Clear? And when America became independent from European power, clear? America began to develop very rapidly, and in course of time, the entire America from Atlantic coast to the Pacific coast got converted into 48 different states. These 48 states came to be known as American Union, also known as United States. Clear? It is known as United States because 48 states got united in 1848 to establish this large country from Atlantic to Pacific coast. Clear? But at the same time, there was internal issue within this 48 states that led to American Civil War. Clear? And this American Civil War was ended by a very important president known as Abraham Lincoln in 1865. Clear? And during this period only, United States started rapid industrialization. Clear? And this industrialization that took place in this large country from Pacific to Atlantic coast. In this region, industrialization was started with new set of inventions and discoveries. Clear? And just because of this new set of inventions and discoveries, it resulted into second wave of industrialization. Clear? What were these inventions and discoveries? Number one. Clear? First of all, clear, the first major scientific invention was done in order to promote coordination among 48 states of American Union. And to promote this coordination in the face of industrialization, there was a scientific person known as Alexander Graham Bell who invented telephone in 1876. Clear? Very important one as it led to coordination and networking among 48 states. Clear? Second revolutionary development that took place, this revolutionary development was done by a person known as Thomas Alva Edison, who invented electric bulb. Clear? Not electricity, electric bulb. Clear? And with the invention of electric bulb, production activities could be continued irrespective of day and night. Clear? So no problem of lighting as electric bulbs were invented by Thomas Alva Edison. Clear? And in order to promote 24-hour cycle of production, a great thinker emerged in America, and this thinker is known as Frederick Winslow Taylor, who advocated a concept known as scientific management theory. Clear? According to scientific management theory, Taylor advocated workers are to be treated not as human beings. Clear? Workers are to be treated merely as cogs in the machine, parts of a machine, and the workers should also work day and night like a machine so that production is continued uninterruptedly. Clear? This idea is also known as shop floor management. This idea is also known as workers management, whereby human beings are to be treated as mechanical unit to work along with machines regularly without any break, without any human emotion. Clear? And just because of this concept of scientific management and distinct set of scientific inventions and discoveries, United States started to get rapidly industrialized. And in course of time, it emerged to be the most powerful country, much more powerful than Britain also in course of global politics. Clear? This was the reason for the rise of United States, and even now it remains to be the lone superpower in the world. It's clear? Why United States is a superpower? Why not Britain? Because of? Ah. Clear. United States emerged to be a superpower, remains to be a superpower because of its strategic location. Clear? If we look into United States is not bounded by any hostilities with neighboring countries. Clear? With Canada, it has got a permeable boundary, and almost Canada and United States are synonymous. Clear? United States does not have any rival in its neighbors. Clear? So United States has always been free from rivalry and has promoted growth uninterruptedly. Clear? This has not been the case of Britain. Britain indulged into continuous rivalry with France and then with Germany. Clear? And just because of this continuous rivalry, Britain lost the status of being the most powerful country, even though Britain was the first country to launch industrial revolution. Clear? So Britain could not emerge to be a major superpower. Superpower in the world is only one, United States, largely because of its strategic location. This was beyond Europe. Clear? Right? Beyond European continent, industrialization was started. European continent, beyond European continent, industrialization was started in United States during the second half of the 19th century. Second half of the 19th century. Okay? Right. The industrialization in United States. The industrialization in United States is known as the second, right? Second within inverted comma is known as the second industrial revolution. Second industrial revolution marked by new ideas and new inventions. Marked by new ideas and new inventions. New ideas and new inventions. Clear? Right. A leading thinker, Frederick Winslow Taylor. A leading thinker, Frederick Winslow Taylor. FRE, a leading thinker, Frederick Winslow Taylor advocated the scientific management theory. Those who are having public administration, they're optional. The first thinker they have to study is Frederick Winslow Taylor, classical thinker. Clear? That is the first thinker in public administration. Clear? Clear? Frederick Winslow advocated the scientific management theory whereby he emphasized that workers should be treated as part of machine. Treated as part of machine. Cogs in the machine. Part of machine. Clear? Right. In other words, workers needed to work continuously, like a mechanical device, to ensure productivity. Clear? Productivity. Right, next. Right, industrialization in United States. Was also triggered, TRIGGERED, was triggered by distinct inventions, triggered by distinct inventions. Inventions telephone, like telephone by Alexander Graham Bell. I hope you can write. Telephone by Alexander Graham Bell in 1876. 1876, electric bulbs by electric bulbs by Thomas Alva Edison. Electric bulbs by Thomas Alva Edison in 1882. 1882. Electricity was invented by Michael Faraday. Clear? Right. These inventions led to uninterrupted production, led to uninterrupted production, and United States emerged to be a highly industrialized nation. Emerged to be a highly industrialized nation. Industrialized nation. United States, clear? Now coming to the last one, clear? One country from Asia also became an industrialized country, in fact the only one from Asia, and that has become an Asian giant in course of time. This country was none other than Japan, clear? We'll come to Japanese industrialization from Asian continent as a consequence of global industrialization. Please. Hmm. Asia and Africa. Hmm. Again, I'll let you know. Clear? See, we'll discuss about American history, but very valid thing I'll let you know. Clear? United States is a very democratic and progressive country, no doubt. On paper, there's no doubt. Clear? In practically also to a large extent. Clear? United States is considered to be a very prominent country. United States fought for its own independence from European powers. Clear? The Native Americans who were there in America, they were known as Red Indians. Clear? They were only defeated by Europeans who went to North America. Clear? This continent was discovered by a Spanish sailor, Columbus. Thereafter, Spain, Britain, France, Portugal all went to this region. Clear? They dominated the entire North America. They defeated the Red Indians. They established their own rule. But at the same time, since Red Indians were not large in number, large number of Europeans like British went permanently to their place and they developed this as a colony. Clear? This Red Indians in course of time also came to be known as the Negroes. Clear? And therefore, when industrialization began to take place, clear, these Negroes were basically employed in large industrial setups. Clear? And at the same time, not all across America, American Civil War took place because of this issue only known as slavery. Clear? Northern part of United States is now also industrialized. Clear? Southern part of United States is not industrialized. It is marked by cotton belt. Clear? In fact, you should know, entire United States is not uniformly developed. Clear? All developments is along Atlantic coast where Britain was ruling. Clear? Atlantic coast was all the cities like New York, Washington DC, provinces like South Carolina, provinces like other provinces like Alabama, Georgia, Texas. These are very developed regions, clear, along Atlantic coast. We'll understand through map also, clear. At the same time, in the eastern side, other side on the Pacific coast, we have only one city. That city or that state is known as California. Clear? That's the only one. Clear? So this is the case. Clear? Northern part was industrialized. Southern part was marked by cotton belt. In the northern part, slavery had been abolished. In the southern part, slavery was retained because cotton cultivation was done by slaves only. And just because on the issue of slavery only, America went for civil war from 1861 to 65, in which Abraham Lincoln wanted to abolish slavery. Clear? And when civil war came to an end, slavery was abolished. Clear? Now what happened? When slavery was abolished, slaves got released from the masters and they were ready to work as workers on wages. Clear? Now, large number of workers got liberated, and these workers began to be employed in industrial setups, and they readily worked in industries for wages because the condition got improved from indentured slaves of the master to free laborer. Clear? So free laborers began to contribute, and United States began to develop. Later on, with development of United States, even Negroes got all the rights, including the voting rights, and United States became an egalitarian society. That is the concept. Clear? Okay, we'll come to American history also. Clear? So coming back. Clear? So another country that witnessed industrialization was Japan in the Asian side. Just understand about this. Clear? Very unique country in itself. Clear? When all industrialization was going on in major countries of Europe and even in North America. Clear? In the second half of 19th century, Japan came to be ruled by a very progressive set of rulers. These rulers are known as Meiji rulers or Meiji dynasty in Japan. Clear? Meiji rulers were very progressive, and they also wanted rapid industrialization in a small country, that is Japan. Clear? But at the same time, Meiji rulers wanted to know what has been the major factor leading to industrialization in Europe and America, so that on that basis we can replicate the industrialization in Japan. And therefore Meiji rulers sponsored an intellectual mission from Japan known as Iwakura mission. Clear? This mission comprised of academicians and technocrats from Japan to go to Europe and to America and to learn the major reason for industrialization. Iwakura mission went to Europe, America, and after returning back to Japan, they gave a detailed report to Meiji ruler, and they made it clear Japan cannot go for industrialization. The reason being, all these countries went for industrialization because abundant wealth are there in these countries like coal, iron, oil, gas, and other resources. Clear? Japan did not have any natural wealth. So this commission or this authority, this meeting, this rulers, they made it clear Japan is not suitable for industrialization on European pattern. Clear? But Meiji rulers were full with determination. They wanted to go for industrialization, and they started a new concept. Clear? They started a concept whereby Japan began to import finished products from Europe. Clear? And when they imported finished products from Europe, they made some value additions to those products. They made some innovation to the products and exported back the same products at higher prices in European markets. Clear? Meaning that by exporting the same product after some value additions, they were sold at higher prices, and Japan began to earn foreign exchange. Clear? And in course of time, Japan with this foreign revenue began to establish large industries. Clear? But like Germany, Japan also did not go only for industrialization. Japan also went for militarization in global politics. Clear? And therefore it is said that Japanese industrialization was not based on invention. Japanese industrialization was based on innovation. Even now, Japanese don't believe in invention, they believe in innovation. Clear? This country is known for innovation, and all this became possible only because of one thing, and that thing is Japan has the most hardworking, most disciplined human workforce. Clear? People of Japan are the most disciplined and hardworking people all across the world, and just because of several setbacks like nuclear attack in 1945, Japan very soon emerged to be a developed country because of quality human force in Japan. Clear? So we got a question 2013 GS paper 1. Even though latecomer, Japanese industrialization was very different from industrialization of other countries. Discuss. You have to write first of all the factors leading to industrialization, major countries of Europe, and how Japanese industrialization was very different from industrialization in European countries. Not based on invention, based on value additions and innovations. Clear? Right, next paragraph. Clear? Right, finally, one Asian giant, finally, one Asian giant, Japan. One Asian giant, Japan, also decided to get industrialized, also decided to get industrialized. Clear? Right. In the second half of the 19th century, in the second half of the 19th century, Japan was under Japan was under the progressive Meiji rulers, Meiji, under the progressive Meiji rulers, progressive Meiji rulers who sponsored, who sponsored, sponsored, sponsored an academic mission, who sponsored an academic mission to Europe, academic mission to Europe known as the Iwakura mission, known as the Iwakura mission. Clear? Iwakura mission. Clear? Right. The members of this mission comprehended the members of this mission comprehended industrialization, comprehended industrialization of Europe, and emphasized and emphasized that Japan cannot replicate European model. Emphasize that Japan cannot replicate European model. Okay? Right. Unlike industrialized nations, unlike industrialized nations, Japan did not had natural reserves. Japan did not had natural reserves, okay? And therefore Meiji rulers began to import Meiji rulers began to import finished products from Europe, import finished products from Europe, and made some value additions or innovations. Made some value additions or innovations. Okay? Right. These products were exported back. These products were exported back to Europe, at higher prices, at higher prices, leading to collection of foreign exchange, foreign wealth, foreign exchange. Clear? Right. Wealth, with such wealth, Japan started to establish. With such wealth, Japan started to establish large and heavy industries. Established large and heavy industries, and became industrialized, very distinct, industrialized. Clear? Right here, like Germany, Japanese industrialization, like Germany, Japanese industrialization was accompanied was accompanied by militarization program, accompanied by militarization program, and Japan became an aggressive country. Participation in both world wars. Japan became an aggressive country in the 20th century. Aggressive country in the 20th century. Clear? Right conclusion, the statement that was asked. Clear? So, right, even though being a latecomer, even though being a latecomer, Japanese industrialization was marked by, was marked by, was marked by, was marked by different set of factors, marked by different set of factors as compared to, as compared to European countries, as compared to European countries. Clear. So industrialization. So these are domestic consequences, global consequences, providing the template. Clear? So industrialization in Britain, followed by other countries, and in fact by non-European powers like United States and Japan. Clear? So how it started in Britain, it started with political reforms. Why it started in England? What was the consequences of industrialization in England, beyond England, that is at global level? How it led to two world wars, how it led to race for imperialism and colonialism, all related to one major event, that is industrial revolution in Europe during 18th century. Clear? Now this 18th century was marked by several revolutions at global level. Clear? And after this industrial revolution, clear, the next major development or revolutionary sentiment that developed was developed in North America, leading to American War of Independence, which is considered to be revolutionary because Americans were the first one to draft the first written constitution, and just because of this constitution we consider American Revolution to be revolutionary, because changes introduced in American Constitution are not reversible. They are found in major constitutions all across the world, including Indian Constitution as well, from where we have taken the concept of federal system with unitary bias, and as well as the chapter on fundamental rights. Clear? Welcome to American Revolution, known as because of draft of first written constitution known as American Constitution. American history is a very distinct history which starts with colonialism, then liberation, then constitution, and then finally civil war in America. Clear? We'll start with American history tomorrow. Clear? We'll start with the second topic, that is American War of Independence and American Revolution tomorrow. Clear? Is this clear till this point? Is this clear? Everything is clear? Any doubt, any small thing, all conceptual clarity is done? Terms are clear? Imperialism, I could not get you? Hoarding of wealth. What do you understand by hoarding of wealth? Any one of you? What do you mean by the concept of hoarding of wealth? Hoarding of wealth is a negative term. Hoarding of wealth means you are trying to save the fund even at the cost of your expenses. Clear? So when you curtail your expenses and try to save as much as you can, this is known as hoarding. But hoarding is largely used in economy whereby traders and merchants, they try to hoard some products for increasing the price of the product. That is known as hoarding. Clear? So hoarding is a negative concept whereby you try to hoard, you try to have something so that you can increase the price of that thing in the market and then release the product. This is known as hoarding. Bullionism. Hoarding is mercantilism, is also known as bullionism. Bullion means metal, hard metal, gold, silver. So bullionism means hoarding the metal, hoarding the coins, hoarding the rupees. Clear? Okay. Hoarding the gold material, it's hoarding, it's bullionism. Clear? Concepts, terms are clear to all of you? Okay, fine, clear? No, just give me 5 minutes, clear? See, uh, Dr. Khan was yesterday. He took the orientation session, clear, but at the same time, clear? I need to discuss briefly about the test and all which has to be conducted for all of you. It's a regular practice. Just take just few minutes, clear? Apart from classes that you will be doing, classes will go on, clear? Meanwhile, at the same time, as we complete one section like world history, after, we'll give you at least a week time to revise things properly. Not at the time. Start revision by today itself. Clear? Week's time to revise more properly. And after this, we'll have a test, sectional test on world history known as proof of delivery. That's POD test would be done. Subjective answers are to be written. The answers will be evaluated by compatible teams sitting back in Delhi. You will get that evaluated answer sheet just to start the writing practice also. Clear? This is only one aspect to go for writing practice. Clear? We'll come to another subjective test also here only. But meanwhile, at the same time, on every alternate day, there will be a test on school book read up. That must have been given to you. Clear? It's basically a compilation of NCRTs. Clear? All the chapters. 1 to 11 is polity section. You will get questions, 10 questions almost from this section. You score almost 8 out of 10 because there are questions directly from the notes, SBR. Reads SBR side by side. Clear? You have videos also on SBR explaining the concept. Clear? Till 1 to 11 is polity, done by Dr. Khan. From 12 to 35, it's history, done by me. We'll get the link of the videos also. Clear? Go with that, read the chapter, write the test on the next day. In vertical plan, you have SBR test also given at the same time. Do write the SBR test so that side by side NCRTs are done. So that when these sections are covered in the class, you are done with the basic things, fundamental things. Clear? So this is SBR to be done. Dates of vertical plan is there. Chapter wise test is given. You will be given the test. 8 to 10 questions will be their objective type. You have to solve the question. Benchmark is almost to score 80%. Clear? Because they are directly a simple question from NCR, just to make you read NCRTs. Clear? SBR. This is one thing. Second thing is, on monthly basis, you would be given a monthly current affairs. Clear? Which is known as Current Connect. Clear? It would be given to you by the first week of the month. That is, if it is July this time, you will get the current connect of June month. Clear? And that is why you have to read the June month. June month has already come. July month will come. It will be given to you. And once it is given, for 3 consecutive Sundays of that month, you will be given link of videos. Important topics has been taken and explained in the class. I'll be taking in that the art and culture section and IR. Clear? Economy will be taken by Himanshu Sharma. Clear? You will get the link. Clear? And meanwhile, start reading the current connect also. Clear? On the last Sunday of every month, you will have 100 questions objective test on current connect. A scholarship is also given on that test. Clear? And you have to write that test under examination condition from 12 to 2. Clear? You have to be you have to write this test in the class itself, not at back at your place. Clear? So 12 to 2 is the timing for 2 hours on Sunday, last Sunday of every month. It will be displayed on notice board also. Clear? And on the next Sunday of that month, that is next month, you will be having subjective test on current affairs, which is known as current issues writing practice or CIWP. Clear? So once objective test on current connect, another subjective test on current connect, and subjective test on modules also known as POD. Clear? SBR will continue side by side. Clear? It's clear to all of you. Current connect you should do thoroughly because that is current affairs. You have to complete it side by side because current affairs is an important section of general studies. Clear? Start doing that from now itself. Clear? So May, June current affairs come, current connect has come. July month will be getting in the month of August. It's fine. Clear? So every 3 Sundays you will be given the link of the current affairs classes. On the 4th Sunday, 100 questions objective test, and on the next Sunday, subjective test on current connect known as CIWP. Clear? POD test would be announced after completion of every module. As I complete world history, for instance, you will be given a time of almost a week to revise, and date will be pasted on the notice board. Clear? And you will be writing POD test in the class itself. Clear? Is it fine with all of you? Do take this test also. These are integral part of the whole organic program. It's an organic program. Clear? So everything has to go side by side. Clear? So do take the test also seriously like classes. Very important. It's fine. Clear? So this was briefly to be explained. Anything else to be asked? Anything else to? It will be on your portal. Thankfully, your IT expert is there from Delhi. Ankit Sharma is here. Clear? Ankit Gupta is here. If you have any issue, just I'll ask him to explain you everything in the class itself tomorrow for 5 minutes. There's a portal for every one of you. You will be given the link of on the portal. On the link, we'll get the videos also. Videos of Current Connect also. Videos of SBR also. It is there on the portal. Is it fine? If you have any problem related to technical thing, I'm very bad at it. Clear. Okay, I'm handicapped in fact in the sense, clear. Paralyzed, you can use any word for me, clear. Expert of IT team is here, clear. He'll explain you the thing, clear. It's fine. Okay, I could not catch up with time, I think so. Huh? What is? SBR, school book reader. Huh. I could not. Test should be, the vertical plan has been given to you. The test of every SBR is mentioned here. You just have to follow that SBR chapter wise. Huh? No, you will be given test in the class itself tomorrow. Huh? This QR is basically to know more about the test. Test would be given in the class itself like tomorrow. Is it fine? Anything else to be asked? Done. We'll continue from here tomorrow. Thank you.